Good morning, children, and welcome to our next lesson based on yet another lovely story by Rhonda and David Armitage called The Lighthouse Keeper's Cat. Now, on Friday, I posted my reading of this story for you so that you could have listened to it as a nice treat at the end of the week. If you have listened to it, and I can see that 7 of you have, really, really well done, children. Now, if you have not listened to the story, the very first thing you need to do today, as part of our English lesson, is to find this YouTube video on our YouTube channel and listen to the story. Whilst you are listening to the story, you need to focus on how Hamish is feeling at different parts of the story. So we are focusing on how Hamish is feeling. So if you have not listened to the story yet, pause this video, go back to our YouTube channel, find the Lighthouse Keeper's Cat story and listen to it first, focusing on Hamish's feelings. When you've listened to the story, please come back to this video. So after listening to the video, we are going to be focusing on describing Hamish's feeling. But the way we are going to describe it, we are going to be learning how to use the conjunction when. Okay, because it is one of the areas that I have noticed in your writing last week that's something that we all need to try to learn how to do it better, children. So today we are going to be using adjectives to describe Hamish's feelings using the conjunction when. Right, so let's start, children. Let's start by creating a list of adjectives which would describe feelings. So let's think of adjectives that would describe feelings. Can you think of any adjectives that describe feelings? Lovely. You might want to start today's writing task by actually writing yourself a list of adjectives which describe feelings. I'm going to write a list of adjectives, really, really good adjectives that I have noticed in some of your writing last week. So, for example, Isabel used an adverb absent-minded. I will try again, absent-mindedly. But I can, if I take the suffix ly off, that becomes absent-mind. That becomes an adjective, absent-minded. You see that, children? A really, really good adjective. So thank you, Isabel. I'm going to be adding that to our list. I'm going to magnify an adjective which Harry used in his writing last week, and it's marvelous. Marvelous. That is a truly marvelous adjective, Harry. Thank you very much. Then I spotted a really good adjective in Matty's story, and that was concerned. That is a very good adjective which describes feeling, how somebody is feeling. So I'm going to add it to our list. Frankie had a good adjective, endangered. You can sometimes feel that you are being endangered by something or someone. Very good, Frankie. So thank you for that adjective. And Poppy had an adjective, curious. When we really, really want to find out about something, we feel curious. So thank you, Poppy, for that adjective. Daniel had a nice adjective in his story, thankful. Thankful. So when we feel grateful for something, we can say that we also feel thankful. And Holly had the adjective clever. We can sometimes feel clever. So this is my list of adjectives which I'm going to magnify from your writing last week. But actually, there could be many, many adjectives that you could add to this list, which I am sure, children, you will do. Now, can you see, why did I just take out the comma between my last two items in the list. Why did I do that? Very good, children, well spotted. That is because we do not use a comma between the last two items in the list, but we use the conjunction and. Very good. So this is my list of adjectives, and this is just going to help me to think in my task today. I might end up using them, I might not. I might end up thinking of even better adjectives. So our question today that we are going to be focusing on is, how did Hamish feel at different points in the story? And when I answer this question, I am going to be using the conjunction when to join the ideas in the sentence. So I'm going to think of an adjective, how is Hamish feeling? And I'm going to use the conjunction when. So let's think, how did Hamish feel at the beginning of the story? So this is the picture which shows Hamish at the beginning of the story. So first of all, I'm going to think of adjective that will describe how Hamish is feeling. Oops, my picture has turned around for some bizarre reason, and I don't know how to turn it back. So we'll just have to look at it sideways for now, children. I'm sorry about that. My computer is having a silly moment. So how did Hamish feel at the beginning of the story? And I could think of an adjective, relaxed. Do you think he felt relaxed, children? So I'm going to say in my sentence, Hamish felt relaxed. And then I have to think, okay, I need to use the conjunction when. So I'm going to say, Hamish felt relaxed when he was near Mr. and Mrs. Grinling. Do you think that would be a good sentence? Did I think of a good adjective? Yes, I did. I bet you can think of an even better adjective. And did I use my conjunction when? Yes, I did. So now I'm going to write my sentence. Can you see I have this picture here, children? Right, let's see if it's going to let me write. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to write Hamish felt relaxed when, I have my conjunction when, he was near Mr. Capital for Mr. and capital for Mrs. and capital for Grinling, because these are all proper nouns. Full stop. Lovely sentence. So I have my adjective and I have the conjunction when. Now, children, there is another way of writing a sentence when I use the conjunction when, and I could actually start the sentence with the conjunction when and still describe how Hamish felt. So I'm going to look at my second picture, which is here. So, oh, silly pictures, they keep on turning upside down. Let's try again. Let's see if I close it and reopen it. Will it open correctly? Silly picture. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, see children, this computer is really not doing what I would like it to do. So I think we'll just have to put up with it for now. Right, so we have Hamish and we have Mrs. Grinling. Can you see Mrs. Grinling was cooking a fish pie, and Hamish looking at Mrs. Grinling. Now let's think, children. Can we think of an adjective which would describe how did Hamish feel? And the adjective delighted comes to my mind. So I am going to write my sentence. And this time I'm going to begin with the conjunction when. When Mrs. Grinling was cooking the fish pie, Hamish was, I could say, was Delighted. He was delighted. Very good. Right. Now, I would like to extend my writing skills even more, and certainly those many of you, and definitely those of you who usually work in the green and the blue group, should be able to do this. I am going to extend my sentence, and I am going to start my sentence with conjunction when, and then I'm also going to use a conjunction because, which most of us are good at using. So let's have a go and see how I would do that. Now, fingers crossed, children. Let's hope my picture doesn't turn around as I open it. Fingers crossed. Oh, it did! It turned. So it's upside down. I cannot believe it, children. Imagine that. My computer, it just wants to have a break. Well, it's the weekend. I cannot blame it for wanting to have a break. So I think I will go back to the picture here on my flip chart. Children, can you see what's on the picture? Poor Hamish leaving the lighthouse, children. He is leaving the lighthouse. And how did he feel when he left the lighthouse? What do you think, children? I am thinking of an adjective, unloved. Poor Hamish felt so unloved. So I'm going to show you the third way of using the adjective, the conjunction when, and also using the conjunction because in the same sentence. So I would start with the conjunction when Hamish heard Mr. and Mrs. Grinling talking. Let's see if I can make it fit on the page. Talking about starving him. He felt unloved, and this is where I use my conjunction because as well. Because why do you think, children, poor Hamish felt unloved? Because he loved his food. Let's move the text up a little bit so that you can see it. Because he loved his food. So 3 ways of using the conjunction when in your sentence, children. The first way is using it in the middle of the sentence. So you would start a sentence explaining how Hamish felt, and then you would explain when he felt like that, like I have done in my first sentence. The second way of using the conjunction when is at the beginning of the sentence and explaining when he felt the way he did, and then writing how he felt. So when, for example, when Mrs. Grinling was cooking the fish pie, Hamish was delighted. And the last way of doing it is using the conjunction when at the beginning of the sentence, but also explaining why he felt like that using the conjunction because. So, for example, when Hamish heard Mr. and Mrs. Grinling talking about starving him, he felt unloved because he loved his food. Okay, children, so let me explain your task today. Today, you are going to be working on writing how Hamish felt at different parts of the story using the conjunction when. So here is the explanation of the easier task. Think of an adjective to describe Hamish's feelings in each part of the story. Write a sentence explaining Hamish's feelings using the conjunction when. Of course, do make sure that you form all your letters correctly and check your punctuation, capital letters and the full stops, and the spelling. It's a slightly harder task if you choose to do this one, and you know, children, which one of you should definitely go for this one. is to describe how Hamish was feeling at different parts of the story. Make sure that each sentence contains conjunction when and because. Make sure all of your letters are formed correctly. So the senders need to be below the line and ascenders need to be bigger than the letters O or E or C, for example. And then, of course, you check your punctuation and the spelling. I'm going to attach this document tapestry, but I'm also going to write it within the tapestry so that you can see it in the message. And then I'm attaching all of the pictures. I have taken photos of different parts of the book to help you to think about how Hamish might have felt at those different parts. You might decide to do and write a sentence using the conjunction when and potentially because for each of those parts of the story. You might not. It depends how much work you can manage to do in the hour that you are meant to be working on English every day, children. Okay, so that is our task today, thinking about how Hamish felt at different parts of the story and using the conjunction when in our sentences. So remember to write today's date and the learning intention, and then you can start your work. I'm looking forward to seeing all of your work, children. Bye for now.